Namaste. Mention I, you. We enter into the fourth book of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, translated by James Haughton Woods. Today, book fourth is called Isolation, and we can see that as a sort of black magic. Magic being the art and science of religion, the intentional changes of consciousness, or consciousness control, whatever. Book third would have been, I guess you could say, the red magic, and white magic would have been where we started, and green magic in between with the means of attainment, perhaps. But anyways, we can divide things however. Sutra 1. Perfections proceed from birth, are from drugs, are from spells, are from self-castigation, are from concentration. And the power of having another body is the perfection by birth. Perfection by drugs is by an elixir of life, got. In the mansions of the demons and by the like. By spells, such as the acquisition of the power of passing through space and atomization. Go back to book 3, 45. Perfection by self-castigation is the perfection of the will, the faculty of taking on any form at will. Kamarupin are, of going anywhere at will, and so on. Perfections proceeding from concentration have been explained. And so, which of these means is one going to take? Thus, in the first and second and third books, concentration and the means of this concentration and the supernormal powers produced by it have been especially discussed. Not equally, but especially discussed. And other matter incidental or suggested by the course of a discussion has been discussed. Now, isolation as resulting from this concentration is to be expounded, and this isolation cannot be expounded unless one have analyzed the mind stuff which is conductive to isolation, and the world beyond, and the self which is to be in the world beyond, and which is over and above the sum of the mental states, vijnana, and which is the enjoyer by means of the mind stuff, which is the instrument of the sounds and other things whose essence is pleasure, pain, and so on. The higher limit of elevation, prasamkhyana. So all these things are to be expounded in this book, as also other matters incidental or suggested by the course of the discussion of these, with the intent first to determine the nature of mind stuff which is conductive to isolation. In the case of persons whose mind stuff is perfected, he states the fivefold perfections by the words of the sutra. 1. Perfections proceed from birth, or from drugs, or from spells, or from self-castigation, or from concentration. Saw a shadow. Okay, let me check the comment to see. Okay, nothing terribly important there. He explains the sutra by saying, the power of having another body, when karma conductive to the enjoyment of heaven and performed by one of the human species, obtains its fruition from some cause or other, then a man, from the mere fact of being born into a certain group of entities, passes into another body, to the perfection which has atomization and other supernormal powers. Now we can kind of think of ourselves in terms of 7 bodies. The last body is our elderly body, and then we got our middle-aged body, and our youthful body, and our adolescent body, and our preteen body. Well, early puberty disorder, I'm not counting that. I'm talking about regularly hitting puberty, eating properly, that sort of thing. And then we got our 7 to 10, and then we got our body before when we're particularly young. Wait, no, before 2. Okay, till we're 2, till we're 7, till we're 10, till we hit puberty, and then adolescence, full-grown adulthood, although we have independent morality and the ability to choose amongst that independent morality, of our physical capabilities, that is, before that, and then the final stage after the, wait, no, I don't want to say final stage, how did I break that down, but adolescence, full-grown, middle-aged, elderly, and before that we have the preteen, the pre-adolescent stage, the middle, and then you have the toddler stage. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Others have divided it differently. That's why I got confused. But each is a different stage psychologically and physically that we can work with. Hope I didn't ramble on too long farther. He describes the perfection which proceeds from drugs, a human being, when for some cause or other he reaches the mansions of the demons, Asura, and when he makes use of the elixirs of life brought to him by the lovely damsels of the demons, attains to agelessness and to deathlessness and to other perfections. Of this perfection may be had by the use of an elixir of life in this very world, as for instance the sage Mandavya, who dwelt on the Vindhyas, and who made use of potions. He describes the perfections by spells and the words by spells. He describes the perfection due to self-castigation in the words from self-castigation. He describes the perfection of the will in the words taking on any form at will, whatever he desires, atomization for instance, precisely that he attains on the spot. In case he wishes to hear or think of anything, and that very thing he hears and thinks, the words and so on include sight and other senses. The perfections proceeding from the concentrations have been described in Book 3, 16 through 19, 21 through 36, 39 through 42, and 51. In the previous Dastan book. As to these perfections with regard to those bodies and organs which enter into the mutation of another birth. 2. The mutation into another birth is the result of the filling in of the evolving cause. Mental evolution, psychological evolution, our bodies themselves and our lives are going through a sort of evolution. These are evident truths to anybody who thinks of them. When the previous mutation has passed away, the rise of the subsequent mutation follows, since the body and these organs interpenetrate the new arrangement of parts, and the evolving causes of the body and organs give aid to their own peculiar evolved effects by filling in dependence upon such instrumental causes as merit. Now, in the case of these 4 perfections, the means for which are the drugs and the other 3 means, the same body and organs must enter into the mutation of another birth. all that mystical stuff about dying daily. You can think about that in this context. But this mutation does not follow from the material causes in general, for the same quantity of material causes cannot belong to him when he attains to a supernal or to a not supernal state of existence, which is either more or less than the present state. For certainly a material cause, which is to bring forth something not different, is not sufficient to produce an effect of a different kind altogether, and so, with a view to exclude the possibility of any accidental difference between cause and effect, he supplies the following words: as to these, perfections with regard to those bodies and organs which enter into the mutation of another birth, and then recites the sutra. 2. The mutation into another birth is the result of the filling in of the evolving cause. I don't know where my voice modulator is.
It's the mutation into another birth.
Because I got an alien and a monster with that thing. Click, click. Of course, that might, I'm trying to be serious here, so don't want to imply some disrespect where there is none. When the body and organs, which have entered into the mutation of a human birth, into a birth as an entity or an animal, the mutation is the result of the filling in of the evolving cause. Now, the evolving cause of the body is earth and other coarse elements, and the evolving cause of the organs is the personality substance. The interpenetration into the parts of these is the filling in. From this filling in, there results the mutation, as he says in the words, when the previous mutation, an objection might be made to the effect that if this aid is to follow from mere filling in, why is it not eternally so? To which the reply would be such as merit. So we have explained how the same body can attain to the different stages as childhood and boyhood and young manhood and age and so on, or how a nyagroda seed can become a nyagroda tree, or how a particle of fire, when placed on a pile of grass, can envelop the region of the sky by the flaring forth of thousands of flames. Three. The efficient cause gives no impulse to the evolving causes, but the mutation follows when the barrier to the evolving causes is cut, as happens with the peasant. For an efficient cause, such as merit, gives no impulse to the evolving causes. Prakriti, since a cause is not set into activity by an effect, in that cause, how is this? The answer is, but in that case, there is a cutting of the barrier, as happens with the peasant, such as a peasant wishing to overflow one meadow plot, whether it be on the level or below or still lower, by filling in with water from another meadow plot, does not remove the waters with his hand, but cuts the rim of turf, which is the barrier of arana of them. And after this is cut, the water itself overflows the other meadow plot. So similarly, merit cuts demerit. The barrier, the varana of the evolving cause, and after this is cut, the evolving causes themselves overflow each its own appropriate evolved effect, vikara. So isolation ka ivalya, ka ivalya. Okay. Organ, just as the same peasant, after the same rim of turf is cut, cannot force the watery or earthen essences to interpenetrate the roots of the different kinds of green. In that case, what can he do? He removes from among them the pulse, or maize, or red rice, or what not. And when they are thus removed, the essences interpenetrate of themselves the roots of the grain. Similarly, merit is an efficient cause, in the sense that it follows upon nothing more than mere cessation of demerit by reason of the absolute opposition between purity and impurity. But merit is not the cause which sets the evolving cause into activity. Of this, Nadicvara and others may be cited as examples. And conversely, demerit inhabits merit, and as a result of this, there is a mutation of impurity. And of this, Nahutsa, the king who was changed into a serpent, and others may be cited as examples. The statement was, the filling in is by the evolving causes. With regard to this, a doubt arises. Is it the filling in by the evolving causes natural, or is it due to merit? Which seems plausible to the objector. It seems plausible that even when the evolving causes are there, the filling in is accidental, and since we are traditionally taught that merit and demerit are causes, the filling in is due to these causes. To this he replies in the sutra, the sufficient cause gives no impulse to the evolving causes, but the mutation follows when the barrier to the evolving causes is cut. As happens with the peasant, true merit and demerit are efficient causes, but they are not impelling causes, since even these causes are the effects of the evolving causes. And an effect does not impel a cause, forasmuch as this effect, insofar as its coming into existence, is dependent upon this cause, is dependent on a cause, and forasmuch as the function of impelling belongs to what is independent. For surely, when the potter is not there, the clay and the rod and the wheel on the water and so on are not impelled by the jar, which is to be produced, or what has been produced, but they are impelled by a potter who is independent of them. Nor again can it even be supposed that it is the purpose of the self that sets all in motion, but the Ishvara sets all in motion, as being the final end of this purpose of the self. For the purpose of the self is described as setting all in motion only as being the final end, Uddetcha. While the purpose of the self is yet to be, it is right that the unphenomenalized matter should be the cause of the stability of matter. But it does not follow from this that the merit and the demerit are not efficient causes at all, since it is quite constant that they, like the peasant, should only remove obstructions. In the case of the Ishvara, remember ich from ish, being in control, being aware, Ishvara being supreme, we must understand that the functional activity is limited to the removal of obstructions with a view to occurring a basis for merit. All this stated by the comment is clear upon a mere reading. The efficient cause gives no impulse to the evolving causes, but follows when the barrier is cut, as happens with the peasant. But if he is asked, while the yogin creates many bodies for himself, do these bodies have a single central organ, or have they several central organs? The answer is, we're on to 4 here. Created mind stuffs may arise from the sense of personality, and from this alone. Assuming nothing more than a sense of personality as the cause of mind stuff, the yogin makes created mind stuffs. As a result of this, the bodies have separate mind stuffs, having disposed of the subject of perfections as taking place by the filling in of evolving causes. He now raises the question as to the oneness or the manyness of the mind stuff resident in the various bodies produced by the perfections, by saying, but if it be asked, well, if this is so, there would be many central organs, and because the intention varies according to each mind stuff of the various bodies, there would be no conformity to one intention, and also there would be no readjustment of memory, quite as in the case of distinct persons. Therefore there is only one mind stuff, which inasmuch as, like a lamp, it has a diffusive nature, pervades even many created bodies. To this view he replies, created mind stuffs may result from the sense of personality, and from this alone. Each body, so long as it lives, is evidently inseparably connected with an individual mind stuff. Such a body, for instance, is that of Chaitra or of Maitra, and the same holds good in the case of bodies created by the yogin. So it is established that each of these bodies has a separate central organ of its own. With this in mind, he says, from the sense of personality, and from this alone. So yogin is a practitioner of yoga, and what is a practitioner of tantra called? I don't remember. 5. While there is a variety of actions, the mind stuff which impels the many is one. How can many mind stuffs have their action provided with a purpose? By a single mind stuff. The answer is the yogin makes a single mind stuff which impels all the mind stuffs. From this mind stuff, the variety of actions is obtained. As to the contention that if there be many mind stuffs, there cannot be conformity to one intention of the yogin who has many bodies, nor can there be a readjustment of memory. The reply is the next sutra. 5. While there is a variety of actions, the mind stuff which impels the many is one. Well, we're operating all our different bodies, right? If we have a physical and an astral and a causal and a mental, and a soul, well, perhaps we're something other than the soul that doesn't. But again, that's just psychological definitions, the way that a certain group looks at that. It's like, anyways, this would be a weakness in the argument if one mind stuff, which is to guide the central organ resident in the various bodies, were not to be created. But when such a mind stuff is created, there is no weakness in the argument, and it should not be said that the yogin, having one mind stuff, needs no separate central organ proper to each body, or that there is no need of the creation of a guide, because the yogin's own mind stuff is the guide, since what is established by the proofs is not rightly subject to command or to question. On this point, there is a Purana passage. Purana it means epic. By virtue of his authoritative power, the Echvara, though one, becomes many. Then, being many, he becomes one. One in essence, many qualities of the one. And from him also proceed all these variations of the central organ. The Yogicvara makes the bodies one-fold or two-fold or three-fold or manifold, and again unmakes them. With some he may partake of objects, and with others he may practice fierce austerities. All these again he may draw in, as the sun draws in the multitude of rays. With the same intention he says many mind stuffs. 6. Of these 5 perfections, that which proceed from contemplation leaves no latent deposit. Now we talk about the 5 false egos and 5 selves. Well, it's really one self. The created mind stuff is of 5 kinds, for the perfections proceed from birth and from drugs and from spells and from self-castigation and from concentration. Well, certain things put up a house of cards that you can just and they're down. Other things, yeah, it gets you there, but it causes damage getting you there, and you can't get there as well the next time. Or maybe you're not aware enough to know that you're not quite where you were with the last high. I guess it varies. People use drugs and demons and all that sort of thing. But anyways, of these 5 kinds, only that mind stuff which proceeds from the contemplation leaves no latent deposit. It alone has no latent deposit, which comes into action as a result of passion or similar states. It has, accordingly, no connexion with merit or evil. Since the yogin's hindrances have dwindled away, for the others, however, there is a latent deposit of karma. Now of these 5, see Book 4.1, perfected mind stuffs, which have arisen, thus he selects that mind stuff which is conductive to release. 6. Of these, that which proceeds from contemplation leaves no latent deposit. Latent deposits are things that lie latent, subconscious impressions of karma out of subconscious impressions of hindrances. That mind stuff in which these subconscious impressions are not is said to have no latent deposit. In other words, it is conductive to the liberation. Since it does not act with reference to passion or similar states, it is therefore not connected with merit or evil. But why is there no activity generated by passion or similar states? The reply is in the words, since the yogin's hindrances have dwindled away, with the intent to show that the central organ which is produced in contemplation and in which there is no latent deposit is distinct from the others. He says that the others have latent deposits. In the words, for others, however. Well, if it's produced, it's not the ground itself. So as I said in the white initiation, we got to be careful the difference between the structures themselves and nature itself and what we do with nature. 7. The yogin's karma is neither white nor black. The karma of others is of 3 kinds. Karma as a class, as everyone knows, quadripartite, chatuspat, black and white and black, and white and neither white nor black. Of these 4, the black is found in villains. The white and black is attainable by outer means of attainment. The accumulation of the latent deposit of karma in this division is by means of injury or of benefit to others. The white belongs to those who castigate themselves and recite the sacred texts and practice contemplation. Because this kind of karma is confined to the central organ alone, it does not depend upon outer means and does not grow as a result of injury to others. The neither white nor black is found in the mendicant saints, sannyasin, whose hindrances have dwindled away, and whose actual bodies are in their last. Of these 4, the yogin alone has the not white karma, as he has renounced sannyasat, the fruit of the fruition, even of good, and is not black, since he will not have naught of it. Okay. But the 3 kinds just mentioned are found in other living beings. On this same point, he introduces, by the word 4, a sutra which gives the reason. 7. The yogin's karma is neither white nor black. Of others is of 3 kinds. A division, pada, is a topic. The karma as class contained in 4 divisions and in 4 is in 4 divisions. Chatushpada. Whatever karma is attainable by outer means of attainment always contains some injury to others. Not necessarily. You can definitely accomplish plenty of things without violating some sort of right. For even in an action in which rice grains or something similar are the means of attainment, one cannot say that there is no injury to others, because one might possibly kill an ant while pounding the grains, and after all, by killing the seeds, one prevents the growth of stalks and so forth. On the other hand, there is benefit in this action, and that the Brahmans and others receive their gifts. The white belongs to those who castigate themselves and recite sacred text and practice contemplation, to those who are not mendicant saints. He gives the reason for the whiteness in the words, because this. The neither white nor black is found in the mendicant saints. He refers to the mendicant saints when he says, have dwindled away, because persons have renounced all karma, do not come into activity with reference to any karma, which can be attained by outer means of attainment. And accordingly, they have no latent deposit of black karma. And because they have altogether offered up to the Ishvara, the ultimate Ishvara, the fruition of the latent deposits of karma, which is attainable by the follow-up of yoga, they have no latent deposit of white karma. For that fruit which is indestructible, that is isolation, is called white karma. The meaning is one who has no fruit at all. How can it have that, the fruit which is indestructible, having thus described the fourfold kinds of karma? He determines which belongs to which by saying, of these 4, the not white. And guess I'll have to continue 8 through 34 in further programs. So what do we see here? Aside from the fact, you call people purple and brown and pink and peach, and they're really white, black, and yellow, and so obviously we're not talking about that. But so something we're seeing here is that we let go. It's not that we don't hope and fear and love and hate. It's that that's not the purpose anymore. That it's like we're not point counting anymore. So I and you are